Hello and welcome to Ditch the Diets, an online summit for helping women over 40 break free from diet hell so they can finally lose weight for good without all the mind drama. I'm your host, Danielle Emmons, registered dietitian nutritionist, and it is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Leona Allen. Welcome, Dr. Leona. I'm so glad you're here, and thank you so much for doing this interview.
Hello, and thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Awesome. So Dr. Leona Allen is the host of the Heal Deal podcast and founder of Freedom Health Systems, which is dedicated to helping women achieve more freedom in their health and in their life. Dr. Leona is also known for her innovative programs that help busy professional women transform their health and their life by removing the physical, chemical, and emotional barriers to natural healing. For many years, Dr. Leona lived with chronic headaches, fatigue, and weight gain, only to find out they were due to prediabetes and fatty liver disease. Understanding the serious impact this could have on her life, she became determined to discover what it would take to heal her body. Her journey to healing has been a major turning point in her health, her life, and the way she runs her practice. Programs developed by Dr. Leona are customized based upon a thorough health assessment. She believes that a person's current health issue or health status is a reflection of the stressors the body has endured over an extended period of time. Dr. Leona works closely with her patients to develop plans designed to reduce the negative effects of physical and emotional trauma, nutritional deficiencies, chronic cellular inflammation, and toxicity. Dr. Leona received her Bachelor's of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering from Michigan State University and her Doctor of Chiropractic degree from Life University. Now a licensed chiropractor for over 20 years, Dr. Leona has developed her practice to embrace a whole body natural health care approach. Again, thank you so much for being here. Saying all that, like, wow, I'm just excited to talk to you today.
And I'm looking forward to talking about it. And just hearing that intro just brings it all back. It's like,
Right?
yeah, and it is great because it's like my journey started over 10 years ago. And just hearing all that, it just humbles me. And
Yeah.
it's just an honor to be here to share the story and present it in a way to help others.
Right. And I'm so excited. And I'm sure so many people are going to be, just excited to be here and hear your story and what you have to share. So first, I would love to start off by having you share a little bit about your story and the journey of how how you got to where you are today.
Yes, so let's bring it back. So it was over a decade ago, so I'll be 52 this year. So my journey actually, well, we've all gone through levels of journeys, but the journey that really impacted the way I live my life was on around my 40th birthday. And I looked in the mirror and I was just, how did I get here? I had my second child. Actually, I was 41. My second child was a year old. So I was just in the mirror. I was, between 70 and 80 pounds overweight. And I had pre-diabetes. I had gallbladder disease, liver disease, and I was practicing at that time. And I was wondering, how did I get here? Because I was fit. I was an athlete in high school. I wasn't always overweight. But I looked in the mirror and it was just at that point, how did I get here? And in the past, I had been working with women, helping them lose weight. And I was just like, just eat less and exercise, it should, no big deal. But when it happened to me, I was like, aha, I get it now. And it really got to the point where I had to learn to get to the root cause. Because even though I was running and all these different things, I wasn't losing the weight. Something else was going on. And the fact was, I wasn't healthy enough to lose weight. So, in order to lose the weight, I had to overcome some emotional issues. I had to overcome some bad habits I had developed. I had to overcome the pre-diabetes. I had to heal my liver. I had to heal my digestive system. I wasn't sleeping well. I was a mother of two young boys. I had a lot going on. So my life was different. And it was about learning how to manage all that and getting to the root of that. And that is what helped me lose that weight and keep it off. And here it is 10 years later. So, and it helps me understand because so many women go up and down on a yo-yo, they just can't find solutions to their health. But now that I understand what they're going through,
Mhm.
it was my mission to understand the root so that I can help women get off that cycle and start to achieve better health as they age. The Journey to Healing Food Shopping Guide is your resource to making healthier food choices next time you go to the grocery store. Grab your copy today at healthyshoppinghabits.com. Healing starts in the kitchen. Begin your journey to healing today. Go to healthyshoppinghabits.com. Once again, that's healthyshoppinghabits.com.
Yeah, I
And
love
take care of
that.
their families and everything else that goes on being at our age.
Right, exactly. Like, it's just a totally different perspective when you are
Mhm.
older and when you have kids and you have work and you are taking care of everyone. You have to still cook and take care of yourself and work
Yes.
out and all those things. And so that, I mean, that's a really amazing story to have, started where you were as an athlete, gain the weight, not even realizing like, oh my gosh, how did this even happen? And what do I do about it now?
Yeah.
So what was it about your weight loss that helped you help others?
Well, it really got me to really thinking because when I'm listening to you and I'm just, what was that? And I really understand is because a lot of times as we get older, it's like the things that worked for us in our teens and 20s won't work for us when we're in our 40s and 50s because our lives are different. We can't be in the gym all day. We're running, we're taking care of families, we're running businesses, a lot of us. And it really helped me understand how to incorporate being healthy in our busy lives, how to handle stress eating. Because I think that was a big part in how I gained a lot of my weight, just dealing with a lot of stress and just being there for everyone else, patients in my family, and not being there for me. So it was learning to find time for me, learning to find time for my other responsibilities without sacrificing my health. So when I was going through my journey, I had to learn how to do it because before I didn't know how because it wasn't an issue. But then
Mhm.
once I learned how to do it, manage my health in a busy schedule, then I was able to take that experience and coach other women how to do it. And it took experience. I had to really learn how to do it in stages because I didn't wake up and say, oh, it took me about 2 or 3 years to get my health back. So it's really helping people understand there's no quick fix. It's done differently. Everybody doesn't, it's not a one size fits all. So we got to really understand what works for us. So to answer your question, it was like really about understanding, going through it so I can understand and empathize and use that knowledge to help others.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so how do you get to the root cause of people's, of the weight gain so that they can turn that around?
A lot of times it starts with a little bit of self reflection. It's like looking in the mirror. And I'll never forget when I was 41, I first had to look in the mirror and just really assess, like, this is where I'm at. I had to get real with it because I think, we're hard on ourselves and sometimes we want to mask it. We don't want to show it. We want to hide from it. We want to avoid it. So it really started with getting real with where I was. And clients need to realize that too, because we tend to just we'll help other people. We'll be like, oh, my husband needs to do this, my kids need to do that. But we got to look in the mirror and say, I need to do it. We need to be accountable and take responsibility for our own actions. So a lot of it was being accountable and getting real and just really staring at myself and just really seeing what I was and just that's one of those moments when emotion is real important because I think as women, we're so good at hiding behind it and we're good at pretending that everything is okay. So I really believe that the first stage of healing and weight loss is to get real with your situation you're in.
Yeah. 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 That that is so interesting. And I don't know, like a light bulb for me goes off that, wow, because I think, well, when people say like, I want to lose weight, they just want to know, tell me what to do, give me a meal plan, whatever. But
Yeah.
it's so much more than that, because
Hmm.
we really do. A lot of people, they do know what to do. Not always, but like, I can give you a meal plan, which I hate, I will never do, but I hate to do that. But
Yeah.
it doesn't ever work. But you can learn your nutrition, but if you don't change your thoughts and your mindset,
Yeah.
will it ever work?
Exactly. You got to have the mindset. You got to learn to think and act like a healthy person. Because when people want to lose weight initially, especially in our younger days, it's about
Mhm.
looking good.
Right.
We want to compare ourselves to other women, we want to compete. But be able to maintain it, it really takes being real and honest. And I don't see any other way around it to not only lose the weight, but keep it off. It
Mhm.
really takes being honest with ourselves. And I have
Right.
found that without that, it's impossible. Because once you learn to be honest with yourself, then you can learn to love yourself the way you are. Because sometimes we look in the mirror and we're just, ugh, ugh. But we got to be
Right.
able to say, I'm here. What am I going to do about it? And love yourself through the process. So really, it's about getting to know ourselves again. Like, hey, you got here. Forgive yourself and just start to take those steps to turn things around.
Right. Right. That makes so much sense. And just the idea of, like, sometimes we think, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of people think like, if I get to a certain weight, then I'll love myself.
Yeah,
But you can get to a certain weight, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna change what you feel
yeah,
inside, right?
exactly, exactly. And it's really about who do you need to become? Because a lot of the stuff, I was like this self-improvement junkie. Even
Mhm.
before I gained weight, I was at
Me too.
all the seminars, reading all the books, and I applied a lot of those business and self-improvement principles to weight loss. I had to treat it like a system. That's why the name of our practice is Freedom Health Systems. It
Mhm.
was learning to create systems and mindsets around my health because I was able to do it with my business, I was able to do it with everything else, but I
Right.
had to do it for my health. And that's actually how I help others, is creating systems in their lives. And the result is weight loss. Okay, the diet and exercise is important, but
Mhm.
that's just a small part. You have to have other parts of the systems in place and execute them consistently over time in order to achieve it. For example, if you're a business owner, you don't become a business overnight. You have to plan, you have to be consistent. Same way with our health, same thing with our relationships, same thing with everything else.
Right, right. That's so, so true. And it's such a good, different perspective to say it like that, because we think about those things with our careers or like other things in
Mhm.
life, but our health is just the same. It's not any different. And I know you talk about like why, so like why is knowing your why so important? Because I know you talk about that as well.
Yeah, the why, that is so important because it's like if you don't have a strong why or a reason for doing it, it's not going to stick. It'll just be an idea, and 3 days later, it's gone. You know how people get excited when they have this new idea, and then before you know it, it's gone. So, that why is what keeps you going. So, my why was my children because I had lost my parents I lost my father to diabetes and my mother to cancer.
Yeah.
So I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want my children to grow up without a mother because I had my children at 36 and 40. So I was a little older when I had my children. So when I became ill, I was like, I don't want my kids to go through that. My kids were only 1 and 4 at the time. And I didn't want to put them through that. So that was my why. I knew I had to get my health together so that I can be in their lives for as long as possible.
Right. And that's a big why. That's a really big why. And I think I'm sure everybody has their own version of that why, but we don't necessarily think about it. So when, I'm sure when you work with people, that's like a big thing that,
Mm-hmm.
focus on, because when you have a bigger purpose, it helps you move forward a little bit easier,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what keeps me going, even when you want to give in or crave or whatever it is like, is it worth it? Is this going towards my goal? Is this going to bring me closer to health? And it, like I said, it's a process. And I think that's another thing that discourages women is because they mess up. We're all going to mess up sometimes, but it's that why that keeps you moving forward despite your mistakes. And it's about learning from those mistakes because sometimes when we get into that position in the first place, when we start to gain weight, it's because I found a connection between avoiding issues and weight gain. So I
Mhm.
learned in that journey, we have to learn to overcome. Like I mentioned emotional eater a lot because I attract a lot of emotional eaters. So it's getting to that source of the emotion, heal
Yeah.
that, having a why behind that, because it's our why that's going to help us overcome the depression, the anxiety. Am I making sense? It's like
Yes,
understanding
100%.
where all this is coming from. And when it
Yeah.
shows up, and it does, it seems like when you make a decision to get healthy, it's just like, woo! So we got to know, okay, here it is. Here's a test. Am I going to confront it or am I going to avoid it and soothe it with some ice cream? So we got to
Right.
learn to conquer it. And it's our why that's going to break those barriers.
Right, right, exactly. And I think like people need that support and accountability to get through those those emotions, because we're not going to face them alone. We're not going to face them because we don't want to
Right.
face them. We're just going to continue in this cycle of, I feel this, I eat this, or I feel this, I do this. And because it's hitting that little dopamine, whatever, like it's just,
Hmm.
we don't even think about it. Actually, we're not even
Yeah.
thinking about it. So bringing it
Hmm.
to the awareness and having someone like you to coach them and to help them understand themselves better and why they're doing what they're doing. I think awareness is like the first step in change, right? And then once
Yes.
you're aware of it, it's like, oh, that makes so much sense. But if we aren't, then we're just like stuck in the cycle forever and ever and ever, thinking, I'll just try this diet. I'll try this diet. I'm a failure. I didn't, I failed this one. I failed that one. And I always like to say, it's not that you didn't fail. You just haven't learned the right systems, like you said.
Yes. And you brought up a
Right.
key point, awareness,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of women aren't aware of what they're going through. And they feel like that they're the only ones going through what they're going through. And allowing women to have a voice and a safe place to do that is usually half the battle. Because a lot
Yeah.
of women don't feel like they have a safe place to share what they're going through because they're trying to be strong for everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
I can say in my own life, like I felt that way. I remember years ago, my kids were young and I thought everybody figured it out but me. Like, why
Yeah.
are like their lives so perfect and everything's so wonderful for them, but like what is wrong with me? Like why am I having, why am I having anxiety? Why am I like things happen with my kids? Why am I feeling this way? But yet most of us are feeling the same way. And when you realize you're not alone and you're not abnormal, that's so powerful in itself, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And having that safe space to share that, like with someone like you, coaching with you, is is really so powerful
Yeah.
and can be life changing.
Yeah. And that's why these types of events are powerful
Yeah.
because, women can listen and relate. So, kudos for you putting this together because it's so important and it will help a lot of women realizing that they're not alone and that they can overcome whatever they're trying to overcome when it comes to their health and weight loss.
Right, right,
Yeah.
absolutely. So one more question. Is basically like you talk about the importance of getting healthy enough to lose weight. What do you mean by that?
Focus on the health and the weight loss will take care of itself. Focus on
Okay.
the systems. If you're pre-diet, I'll just go back to my story. I had to, in order to lose weight, I couldn't lose weight as long as I was pre-diabetic. I couldn't lose weight as long as I had liver and gallbladder issues. I couldn't lose weight as long as I had digestive issues because
Right.
we have to absorb, we have to assimilate, we have to metabolize. All these things are important because as a diabetic, I was a sugar burner, not a fat burner. So it was metabolic issues. So getting healthy, I had to reverse. And, blood work is a part of finding out what's going on in the body and
Mhm.
then fixing that. I used to be an engineer, so it was like, it's like you got to have, the car systems, everything has to work for it to function properly. Same thing in the body. If the body is functioning correctly, it will, it won't have, it won't have weight issues, period. Healthy bodies aren't overweight. I
Yeah.
never seen it.
Right. You're so right. And I love that it's almost like putting your health first. I try to, I try to focus on that with clients as well, because when they start to focus on the scale only, like that's all they're
Mhm.
focused on. If we're just focused on all the healthy habits that make us feel good, give us more energy, we get adequate sleep, we make better choices.
Mhm.
Focusing on that, the health, the weight is always going to
Yeah.
follow, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
also focusing on things you enjoy. Focus on things that make you laugh, make you smile, make you feel good. These are things that are important because we get so obsessed with, oh, it's like we'll go through all this stress, eat the chips, eat the ice cream, get on the scale, and then, but we don't account for, okay, the scale looks this way because of all the habits that I had been accumulating. So change the habits to change the scale, period.
Right. And you're so right with like doing things like that you enjoy and you love, because I learned that the hard way. It's like a whole nother story that I'll share later. But it's it's so important for your health and for making better decisions, because we focus so much on like the have tos. I have to do this, I have to diet, I have to lose weight, I have to take my kids to school, I have to, if there's I have to make dinner, I have to do this. And then the feelings of failure. But like when you actually find joy in your life and put yourself first once in a while, and I mean, self-care like on a daily basis is great, even if it's 5 minutes, it does wonders for everything
Yes.
else.
Yeah.
And it
Make
was a
time
hard
for
lesson for
yourself.
me to learn. And I think it's a hard lesson for a lot of women to learn, right? It's
Uh-huh.
like that guilt, like I feel selfish.
Yeah.
No, actually, you're a better mom, you're a better wife, you're a better friend, whatever.
Yeah.
When you do things, and you're teaching
Yeah.
your kids that too. And I learned that it was a lot later in life, but hopefully,
Yeah.
you know, people realize that,
Yeah.
um,
And what came to my mind when you were saying that, just think about it. When you're feeling good and you're happy and you're on top of the world, things are going well, we tend to eat better too when we feel good.
yeah,
Because it's like a lot of women do well on the program when everything is aligned. But what happens is something bad happens. What happens? They go in and just feed their emotions. So that's why it's important. That's why I think mindset is important and taking care of our mentality and ourselves, because that's when we tend to do things better. And then when we are in that place where
mhm,
we're being tested and we feel like we want to go in reverse, that's when you have systems in place to get out of that. And I tell clients all the time, that's the time to call a friend, go for a walk, do some journaling,
mhm.
but find non-edible ways to calm yourself. And that's all part of it. We haven't learned to cope. I think that's a big issue as well, learning how to cope with those things so that it doesn't interfere with our health, because it's going to happen. We think that once we make a decision to live healthier, we'll never have another bad day, but that's not true. It's learning how to manage those days so we can move forward.
Yeah, great point. I love that. So wow, this has been so inspiring, such great information, such great like sharing. I love everything that we talked about. And so if you were listening to, or sorry, if you were to leave listeners with one single action today, what would it be?
Don't be hard on yourselves. It's
Mhm.
okay. I mean, don't compare yourselves to others. This is your journey. You're going through what you're going through to learn what you need to learn. So take those mistakes as lessons. Give yourself some grace
Mhm.
and just believe that you can do it. It all starts with believing you can do it. and then getting the help you need to take the right action and being consistent with that action, and love and nourish yourself in the process and trust the process.
Yeah, those words are perfect. Like everybody needs to hear them. They should probably like record this and listen to it every single morning and every single night, because we don't hear it enough, and we need to hear that, and to be like women here talking about it and you talking about that, and we all just need to hear that all the time, and we don't hear it from ourselves. We don't hear it, a lot of people are just like have up a front. So I love this like open conversation where you say that, because it is so true and so important. Thank you. I love that.
Yeah. And we got to be okay to tell ourselves too. We can't wait for other people to do it. We got to be okay.
You're right.
With giving ourselves positive self-talk. Because like I said before, I think we talked about this before, we're so hard on ourselves. So hard. But we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be.
Exactly. And I always like to say, like, and I do this to myself too. The thoughts in my head or the thoughts in your head or anybody's head, like, would you say those things to your child, your daughter, your son, your best friend, your mom, your coworker, even the person you don't even like necessarily? Like, probably not. So why do we say these things to ourselves, right?
Right. Or your best friend. Like, would I say this to my best friend? So we just got to check ourselves and just know that we can do this.
Right. Exactly. So I know you have a free gift. Can you share that?
Yes. Even though I talk about mindset and it's all important, people always want a list of foods, where to start. And I believe that starting in the kitchen is important. And part of the process is putting the right foods in our bodies. So the gift is a food shopping guide, and it's a list of a lot of the healthy anti-inflammatory foods that will help you on that journey. So I like to say that food starts in the kitchen. So start to feed yourself healthy foods, as well as feed yourself healthy thoughts and actions.
Perfect. I love that. And everyone, you'll find the link below this video in your email. So you just click on the link and you'll get that free gift. And also, can you share where people can find you?
Yes, my website has all of my details, drleona.com, drleona.com. And I'm very active on Instagram, Dr.Leona, Facebook at Dr. Leona, and YouTube, Dr. Leona Allen. But all of that is on my website.
Perfect. And they can go to your website. We'll have all the links to all those things as well under the video. And so thank you so much, Dr. Leona, for just all your amazing wealth of information, knowledge, insights. I just loved it. It was just incredible. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.